We are going to shoot a quick video on the assembly and the inner workings of a 2-inch D-lock.
First thing I'll do is put a 218 O-ring onto the collet. Then we're going to drive the locking sleeve into the collet with the leather mallet. And to show you where it'll be positioned in the set position, I'm going to go ahead and move it. In this position, this is when the lock is in the set position with the expanded element. Next, we're going to screw the fishnet onto the outer sleeve. And drop the collet assembly into the outer sleeve and fishnet. Next, we'll take the dogs and put them into the outer sleeve. And then take the locking mandrel and screw it into the collet assembly. Now we're going to take 2 shims, because that's what would be required for the element to expand to the proper diameter. And we're going to put it on. Sometimes it takes 1, sometimes it takes none. But in this instance, the length of the element determines how many shims you'll use on it.
And just for a little further clarification, Jack, the amount of shims is determined by the batch of the elements. So sometimes we'll get elements in that only use 1 shim, and then maybe the next batch of elements we get, we'll need to put 2 shims to allow that element to expand
Right.
to the proper diameter. Those shims are only 30 seconds thick, so they're not very thick. I think you mentioned with each shim you get about
50 thousandths
50
expansion on the element.
on the OD of the element. Okay.
Yes.
I just wanted to kind of clear that up.
Sure. And next we'll take a 219 O-ring and put in the expanders. And then also another 219 O-ring and put it in the O-ring housing. We'll put the element expander on to the packing section. Pretty tight. Sometimes you gotta screw it on, saves the O-ring from getting torn up. Next, we'll put the element on, and then the O-ring housing with the smaller bevel towards the element. Now we'll take the assembly and screw it onto the locking mandrel of the D-lock. And for demonstration purposes, we're just going to make it hand tight with a 1/4 inch punch, holding on to it. Everything's bottomed out. Now, we're going to take this and demonstrate how we function test the D-lock. Normally you would use a de-running tool, but for sake of preventing wear and tear, we're gonna go ahead and use a different method with a leather mallet and set this D-lock, expanding this element and putting it in a locking position. It should measure 2.125 or very close to that with the proper spacing of the shims. That's
Good.
about what you're looking for.
For 2 3/8 tube.
And that's it.
All right.